going to do an event. We'll share that with you. We hope you can join us. We'll shed a few tears. Okay, so here's the thing. We're going to start with the bus routes. If you don't have any comment, that's okay. And if you do have a comment or a question, we're really going to have to move quickly through the route. So I would ask that you try and be as succinct as possible because we have a lot to do in about 15 minutes. So
I just want to make sure. So we're live on Facebook, so be cognizant of that when you speak. And then Emily on Periscope, and Emily will take notes. So please be very clear in terms of the question and element that you're providing.
Okay, so the number one. Penny, do you want to give a comment or question about the number 1 or the number 6? We'll call it both.
Yes, our table is concerned that the number of buses, the 6, the 17, and the 19 on Beechwood at the Vanier Parkway, which is a congestion and a pinch point to come in to all of the neighborhoods off of Beechwood. How is that going to work?
Okay, so I'm going to get Pat up here. The one thing that I do know is that the new 17 is only going to be rush hour service. So in terms of the number of buses that will be going westbound on Beechwood, and this is a good thing or a bad thing depending on your point of view, is not actually going to increase that much, right, Pat? Is that correct?
So same number of buses, just the 17 will add about 6 more trips in the morning and about 6 more trips coming back there in the afternoon. And then as years go on and Waterridge develops more, we'll have to add more service there.
Except I'm going to advocate for those to go south.
To Blair.
To Blair and Saint Laurent, not to go west. But that's a whole other subject. Okay, other number 1/6 questions? Yeah?
So in this planned frequency of service chart, we're wondering why the 1/6 is coming more frequently than the 12 or 19 or any other bus. So it says it's coming every 5 minutes and every other bus is up to 8 minutes.
That's the frequency on the busiest part of its route, which is along Bank Street. In this area, the 12 running every 6 minutes is one of the most frequent routes.
Okay, last number 1 comment, and then we'll move to the 7.
So we appreciate the fact that the 6 and the 7 are not going to be broken like certain rumors were put up, like what happened to our 5.
Yeah, no, I think we certainly heard a lot from people who wanted and valued crosstown routes. And I think you see that in the presentation for the 1/7. So thank you for that feedback. Okay, let's move to the 7.
Sorry, I had one quick one.
Okay.
I have several young staff members that leave where we work, and they go up around Springfield. And I know a couple of them feel very nervous about taking a couple of bus stops along there because they're just not very well lit. Is there any possibility we get a bit more lighting sort of along those routes?
So you're talking sort of Maple Lane, Springfield, Acacia?
Yeah, some of the stops are just they're fairly dark, and it makes them feel a little bit nervous.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. We can look at that for sure. Okay, a quick number 1.
For routes number 7, 9, and I'm going to go into 18 because it's the north-south route going. So is it going to be more frequent buses? Because now there's not enough, we feel there's not enough buses. It's long the time. So will they increase the frequency? Because these are the only routes that are going north-south.
Okay, so can we just put a quick hold on that because we'll come back to that when we talk about the 9 and the 18. Because right now.
The 7 you want to talk?
Sure.
Okay, well it's the same for the 7 also.
Okay. So you're wondering about frequency of southbound routes. Okay. We're moving on to number 7 then. Other questions, comments, suggestions, ideas on the number 7?
Just one, with the new direction on Beechwood with the cycling routes, if you take the 1, the new 6, you have to cross Beechwood to get to the number 7. Sometimes you can miss your bus just trying to cross.
Yeah, and one thing that Mecha and I are working on, and we've identified this, is ideally we'd like to look at an eastbound bus stop at the Vanier Parkway in St. Patrick. There's an island there. There would be a way of doing something really interesting there on the bridge. Pat has said he can't do that immediately, but we're advocating and we're working on it because that certainly would help with the 1/7 connection. Okay, Alain?
I'm happy that you're proposing a 15-minute frequency on Sunday.
Alain, just for the purpose of everyone.
Okay. The 7 is showing 50-minute frequency on Sunday mornings. What time does that start?
I think we'll have to get back with it.
Okay, we don't have the answer here.
If it started at 8 a.m., it would be perfect.
Okay. Okay, question 7, number 7.
Question regarding the 7. Departing Carleton University, would it be possible to get higher capacity vehicles for that? Just because they are usually very overcrowded, departing Carleton. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take it.
Okay, let's move to the number 9. Usually lots of comments on the 9. Jen?
One thing you've noticed with the 9 is the new on the new routing is basically the routing that was done when the cycle was. The buses no longer will be served Elizabeth Weir coming out of town. And a lot of elderly people use the service from downtown to get to the hospital. The other thing is, there seems to be a drop-off as a corner down how many people will pick up the Sussex.
Talking about the
The
drop-off.
consensus in our table was that the 9 should really just keep the same route as it is at the moment. Because coming the other way, there's no, it's not going in the same direction as all the other buses coming to this area.
So you do the Carleton Transit station.
It should just go the same way as the 12 as it does now.
We'll get that to provide some.
Okay, so I'll just say a couple of things. That's a decent suggestion, which we'll certainly work on. The plan right now is that the buses that are ending at Rideau Station would drop off their last customers, as you saw, at Dalhousie and Rideau. People would walk over to the Scotiabank entrance into Rideau Station. Northbound, the map can't show this level of detail, but we would pick up customers on Colonel By, the south of Sussex, what I call the Elephant and Castle bus stop. It hasn't been the Elephant and Castle for years. But and then going north, not like it was during the construction detours when it was up beside the chapters. These make more sense in the future than they did last winter, because that's where the entrances in and out of Rideau Station are. So I take your point about Gruyere Health Centre, and I certainly take your suggestion about going to Parliament Station.
But the bus will be heading towards Beechwood, New Edinburgh. It's going to be picking up on the other side of the road from the buses. The other bus is the 1 or the 6, and the 7, the 19.
For those people, yes. For those people who are travelling to that one common stop at Beechwood and Crichton, yes, they would have to make their choice before they go to the bus stop if we stick with the plan we have. Certainly take your point, though.
So the number 9, again, it has to do with the frequencies, north-south, between when it goes down the Vanier Parkway. So if people want to get to the train station down there, it's very long. It's not, the number 9 is not that common. It's every 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes in the afternoon, during rush hour dinner time, but the rest is every 15, 20, 30 minutes. That's not a lot for that train to go down south.
That's largely the same frequency as it has today. We've been watching that route for years, hoping that we can get a few more customers on it and bring it up to a higher level. To this point, we haven't. It might change as more people start to use Route 9 rather than Route 12, for instance. We might see that does happen.
I heard Bill that they will come comment.
Well, yeah, my problem is I would take the number 9, but it's so not dependable that I would try to walk farther to avoid it, because I never know if it's going to come or not, or if it's going to be on time.
Another comment on the number 9?
So speaking to frequency, but also we're concerned about the congestion on Vanier Parkway. So even if you're saying it's going to be every 10 minutes, chances are we know that the traffic on Vanier Parkway will make it slower than that. So we have issues with that. And then the reliability of the number 9, also considering it's the only bus that will take us to Vernon Station.
There's auto traffic congestion on Vanier Parkway. We can do small things about that. At a few stops along the way, we've been able to move the buses out of a bus bay and into the main travel lane, so the bus isn't hemmed in by cars. We've been able to do that some places. And this contradicts the point about a connection into Parliament Station. By shortening up the route to Rideau Station, we can avoid any time and congestion to get to points on the west side of the river. Vanier Parkway is very busy and very subject to fluctuation, and our buses are just in that same traffic. And we're always looking for everything we can do, but there's really very little we can do to get the tide of cars out of our way. We keep working on that, though.
Okay, so we're going to move on. I want to regroup here because we've lost track of the goals, which was you've identified at your table a rep. They are to represent the discussion of the table, so we don't want to highlight individual issue or else we've lost focus of the regroup. So please, let's go back to the rules that we've established for ourselves. So you're the speaker for your table for 9? Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
So this is regarding connections, specifically the connections between the 9 and what's currently 121 going to become 42. From what I've heard, when you try to make that connection to the 42, you just miss it. Like your bus is pulling in and the 121 is pulling out. And because that only runs every half hour, you're waiting another half hour for your bus. So would we just be able to budge the 121 schedule a tiny bit later, please?
Feedback taken. Yeah. So I won't get staff to answer all the questions, but all these are tracked and they'll follow up accordingly. On the 9 once again?
Yeah, well,
okay.
It's related, I think, to this. A lot of the north-south lines are going towards Saint Laurent, and Saint Laurent is a wonderful destination, but no, it is for certain purposes. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but Herdman is a very valuable connection in our transit system, and what came out of our table was that if we want to go further south, Herdman makes a better point for connection. So is it possible to rethink, without compromising the service for the people who are on the existing routes, but can we make more connections towards Herdman?
So if I summarize, great connections to Saint Laurent. Could we get more southern connections or northern connections to and from Herdman?
Exactly.
Okay, well taken. Is there, you're the speaker at the table?
I'm the speaker, but what did you want to bring up? Number 9. Oh, sure. Actually, that's something we need to discuss at the table, but if you want to mention it.
The number 9 used to go to, or a similar bus used to go to the train station years ago before all the construction. And now there's no bus going from anywhere north to the train station. And it looks like the only way to get to the train station is to get to an LRT station and then transfer.
Yes, that's correct, and so that's going back to the way it was before the construction started, when it was the transitway was the only way to get to the train station.
So there's no thought of dragging the 9 in?
That did exist back in, I think that started in about 86 and was removed a few years after that. It was certainly early in the 90s when that connection of the old Route 3 to the train station was taken out. Lots of people go to the train station, but they're traveling points all over the city.
Okay. Ready to move on to what I think is one of the most busy ones I certainly get most complaints on, which is number 12. So let's go table to table on number 12. So we'll start at the back, those who haven't spoken yet.
So this table is very focused on 12, specifically capacity and frequency and reliability for the 12. And the comments were that people are still likely to take the 12 to go downtown, less likely to make sort of an eastbound backtrack to get to the train. So really need to focus on the service on the 12. And related comments on improving transfers, timing transfers, providing shelters and better waiting space for people who are transferring on those routes. So, and also on the buses, ensuring that the physical space in the bus meets the needs. There's a lot of strollers, wheelchairs, etc., so that the buses can meet the capacity of those users.
That's great, thanks. So let's build on that if there's new elements. So keep in mind, we're taking notes and all of these sheets at each table will be collected. So that information isn't being lost. We're taking that and building onto it. So there's a further comment at this table.
Yes, we would just like to point your attention to 12 at the AM going going east it's 7 to 8 minutes, and going westbound it's every 10 minutes. And we're just wondering, could that have been just a typo, or could the frequency be reversed? The timing be reversed?
I think you're correct. It it's the buses that are going towards downtown that are more frequent in the morning. So I think you're right. The numbers are just reversed on the page.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm looking at tables here on the 12 comments. Yes?
So our table was wondering why the 12 is still starting at Blair. And so I think on a lot of routes, but the 12 is just an example of one, there's a lot of delays of the buses even beginning the route, let alone getting to a halfway point or anywhere past Saint Laurent in the case of the 12, which leads to more delays. So we're wondering whether there was a consideration of limited stops or an express route down Montreal Road in the 12 so that certain runs are not stopping every single stop, but that there's some kind of mix to make it a bit faster in some cases. And yeah, that's the main point.
So that's a comment. We've worked with OC Transpo, and certainly this is a proposal today. I would have expected more changes to the 12 because I think the core issues to the 12 are still present. I'm curious, how many use the 12 in the room? Okay. How many use it east of Saint Laurent? Raise your hand. Jump on the bus east of Saint Laurent. Okay. How many jump on the bus between Saint Laurent and Vanier Parkway? Okay, and then how many jump on the bus west of Vanier Parkway? Okay. So, yeah, no, I understand. I'm just trying to get a sense of embarquement. So, for those who get on, and this is just, let's have a broader conversation. I think it's important for us to. So, those who enter east of Saint Laurent, how many, if we'd be able to get you off the 12 to an LRT station, that it'd be Blair or Saint Laurent, would do the shift? Right? So out of those who said they are entering, so raise your hand if you're, sorry, I should have asked that initial question. If you're entering the 12 east of Saint Laurent, raise your hand again. Keep your hands raised if you'd stay on the 12, even if we do a better southern connection. Okay, interesting. Okay, all of those who have, so same question, but for those who are entering the bus between Saint Laurent and Vanier Parkway, raise your hands if you're using the 12. That was a lot of you. So if you're entering in the core of Vanier, along Montreal Road, between Saint Laurent and Vanier Parkway, if we provide to you a southern connection to Herdman or train, how many would get off? If you use it, lower your hand. If you would get off the 12 and use this new point, get off the 12. Okay, so you'd still use the 12. Okay, and then obviously west of the Vanier Parkway, you'd go to Rideau. Okay.
Sorry, west of the Rideau, west of Vanier, I mean, the Dream 12 would be from Saint Laurent to Westboro. Rideau?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm missing the room.
Okay, no, that's good feedback. That's why I wanted to do this sequence. So,
just a quick footnote to that. I've given up on the 12. I don't anymore. I take the 19, the 1 or the 7.
okay, so let's keep going on the table reporting just in terms of the 12. Toby?
Sorry, just a quick note. It's 8 o'clock. I said we were going to try and stay on time. I lied. We're late. I'm sorry. I think the conversation, we should keep it going. So why don't we say, let's go to 8:15, if that works. If you do have to leave early, please fill out a survey at the back if you have to leave early. Otherwise, we'll hand them out at the tables at 8:15.
Please don't leave. There's important. So on the 12, at each table I'm looking, from the comments, can we build on to the comments? Speakers at each table? Speakers at each table? Yes, sir?
Just one comment here about to improve reliability on the 12 was maybe something about really enforcing bus lanes. There seems to be a lot of cars in the designated bus lanes on.
Peak periods.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our comment.
Very good. Okay, is that the 12?
That's a 12 question.
Yeah.
It kind of bleeds into a few of them. Because one of the general things that we did point out was, it's great to see a lot of these local routes, coming on the table. But the issue that we're seeing is that there's not a lot of common transfer points between these routes where you could wait at a stop and catch the first of multiple buses that come by. You're actually committing to either take an 18, a 19, a 14, a 20, a 27, a 12, and you've made the decision to wait for that one bus, which are all 15 and 30 midday. So in terms of improving service, you're not actually getting more service along the same routes. You're just improving service to different points throughout the area, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but.
Very good comment. Yeah. Looking around, I'm looking, are you the speaker at your table? Okay, yeah.
So number 12, I just want to make a little comment. Don't cut it off at Saint-Laurent, put it off at the Stade Montfort. If you're going to be changing it, keep Montfort.
Oh, okay. If we are going to cut off, because right now it's going to Blair, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Toby's keeping me going. Toby, do you want to come and do the 14? Okay, so 14, let's bring it up on the screen. That's the bus, I guess, least complain about. Just to be blunt and honest, I think it's because there's opportunities to jump on both sides and you get to transit very quickly. So it's still important. Pat, there's no changes on that one, right? Minimum change? Changes are way west, okay.
So way west makes the connection from Vanier to the, I guess it's the Civic Hospital now has a split in it, like a make connection, which
that'll be one of the things we'll have to work with people on, because the fastest way might well be to, depending on where you are, take the 14 going the other direction, take the train, which is of course very much quicker and more reliable, over to Tenny's Pasture, and then get a bus going straight down Parkdale, down to the Civic Hospital. There's a number of, it's a choice that people can make. We'll be happy to talk to customers as we get there about the Route 55 that we're working on that goes across town from Lees over towards the Civic Hospital. There's a lot of choices built in, but you're right about that one thing you mentioned.
Parfait. D'autres commentaires sur 14? Yeah.
Yes. We thought that it should have the same frequency even late at night because it's an important connection also late at night.
Okay, point taken. Any other on the 14 going once, going twice? Okay, next.
Okay, the new 17 from Rockcliffe Air Base, Wateridge Village. Anything to say about that? John?
Just to reinforce your point, if you want to get people, as that community develops, the route should be pushing into the LRT for a number of reasons, not the least the existing.
Yeah, fully agree, and Pat's heard me say that ad nauseum, so I think
you're not alone, boys.
Yeah, okay, thank you. No other points on 17. Let's talk about the 18, because there are some changes proposed from OC Transpo. So we'd love to hear particularly from Overbrook residents, because we're losing that little nook. Penny?
That's right, and that's what we were going to say, is the 18 no longer will go to Quill Street, which has the community center on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other comments on the 18?
We were wondering if the 18 could do a loop maybe to train yards. Right now there's no kind of connection to train yards, and so the 18 looks like it could make some kind of like a little let us out there.
Okay, thank you for that.
And perhaps along the way, stop and train.
Right.
So there's two connections.
Yeah, those are some great ideas. Okay, we'll leave the 18 behind. Have we talked about the 19?
No, that's next.
Okay, 19?
19, the old 5.
Please.
Our table was killing it. Okay. So 19, same with the 9, we have some concerns about the little jaunt it's taking on Vanier Parkway, just congestion issues potentially. And then the other thing is there seems to be kind of a hole between.
Just to summarize here, so between MacArthur and Donald and MacArthur, the little jolt on the Vanier Parkway is a concern, okay?
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I guess, sorry, between Donald and Coventry, right now it's like taking a turn and going down like Donald to Saint Laurent, but we're wondering if it's missing like a hole in the center. I can't really explain as well. But we were wondering maybe there's a street called Francis that it could go to.
France, yeah, okay. It used to use that that connection.
Just to maybe serve a few more people.
Queen Mary, Francis, yeah. Okay. Yes?
So our comment on the 12 applies to 19 as well. So if you're trying to push people south, but then have a bus that starts, at somewhere downtown, and then if you're trying to
I think it's important because they've divided, Pat and his team have divided that route, so maybe, Pat, you can take a second.
Just to say quickly that for all these routes we looked at, where along the route it's faster to get downtown via Saint Laurent or get downtown via bus all the way. And I think Mikhail could you stand over there to show about where that line is on our... And it runs pretty much like diagonally through, and if you're, we're going to be helping customers as we get into, you know, explaining how to use these services. There's a line through Overbrook and Vanier, and if you're on that side, you're better up. Your shorter trip, if you're going downtown, is to take a bus downtown. If you're on this side, it's to go to Saint Laurent or Herdman and take the train downtown. People will still make their own choices. Some people will really want to ride the train. Some people will really want to stay on one bus all the way and not change. But this is what changes a lot, is that there's a lot more appeal to go what appears to be the longer way around.
So hearing that, super duper. But it's like, then it's going to take the bus that's going downtown, the 19, starting at Saint Laurent, instead of say starting at Herdman and pushing that way faster. You know what I mean? Like, so it's going a longer distance where you're saying that there's a line there. Why is it taking the bus, you know, such a bus?
Well, there's people traveling both directions all the time, right? There's people who are closer to Donald who need to go to points on Beechwood. There's people on there's people in Lower Town who need to get to points. There's people going both directions on these routes all the time. And there'll be a lot more, you know, right now we see them being very heavy towards downtown in the morning and very light coming out from downtown. We're going to see it heavier in both, heavier going in the eastbound direction because more people will make that train connection than do today. So it'll balance out, and those buses will be used different parts of the route. You'll see a different pattern.
So can I just jump on that quick? So and this covers the 19 and also the routes that are above that to 27. But this is where it started to seem like a lot of the new routing here is trying to entice people who live in this area to potentially take an eastbound bus to get to Saint Laurent to make a connection on the transit way to go potentially westbound. So the question there, because you know, as an idea, north-south line on the east end of downtown, that's great. How come Vanier Parkway isn't being seriously considered as that northwest collector? Considering you already have transitway buses going up the southeast transitway to Herdman Station, just continue them up Vanier Parkway to pick up Overbrook, MacArthur, Vanier, Beechwood, and back down.
So that's a good point. Part of the balance here is to figure out how we can best serve everybody. And our research on that specific question has been that we will serve more customers and we will serve all customers better if we run a service along Donald than if we were to run no service along Donald at all, which would be the alternative in this case.
Oh yeah. Pat's just asking, was there any comments of along using Homestead and then Marie connection?
I like it.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Continuing on the 19, but watching time. So let's be very quick. Let's regroup on all the comments quickly.
So an issue that came up at our table. It's probably related to when the 5 was broken. It's that the connections are not very good. The service is very infrequent for the number 19, and if anything doesn't work to get further along where the 5 used to go or anywhere else in downtown, the connections are really poor. If it's hot, if it's cold, or whatnot. Can we possibly rethink the idea of saying that the destination in downtown isn't the train line? People coming from the south and the west, they have all of downtown to go through before their routes end at the train line, whereas we get stuck at the train line and we have everything else that's a connection afterwards. Is it possible for us to have our little loop instead of looping at Parliament Station, including Parliament Station, but going somewhere looping on the far side, Chinatown, or where else? I just naively think.
Okay, well taken. Yeah.
Je me demandais quel autobus qui va desservir la Ville-Averne, puis tout au sud d'ici, là, comme je ne le vois pas, vous avez juste le 20 qui descend Marie-Montfort, mais là, justement...
Je pense que c'est le prochain circuit, hein. On a dit 19, ou l'ancien 5 à un autre circuit qui est le prochain, qui est le 20.
Oui, mais le 20, il descend Montfort, il descend où, le 20?
vont être desservis par le 20. Ouais. D'autres questions sur le 19? Je continue rapidement.
Le 19 le matin, le dimanche le matin, 49 heures.
Okay, so the time on the 19, starting time on the 19. Okay, we just got to keep going. So number 20. Oh. Wait.
Il y avait une question que Peter brought up. It's the Gloucester High School will now have 40 students coming from the Overgroup Manor Park, Vanier.
We'll force them to reopen Rito. Everyone agrees, right? We vote on this? Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, point well taken. This is also a work in progress for OC. Yes? Just, if everyone, I can't hear you. Yeah?
Just a comment about the 19 turning onto Olmsted from Montreal Road. If anyone's ever traveled on Montreal Road, it's very congested. How is a bus going to make a one-hand turn onto Olmsted? Will there be a dedicated light or lane?
That's one of the things that we have to look at is the redesign and reconstruction of Montreal Road comes ahead. How do we configure the traffic signals? Where are the turns? Are there any turn lanes? That's the detailed work that really goes on. We get your input here. We can lock down the bus routes in the area. Then we can hand that information off to the people who are designing the details of the street.
I don't think it'll work on Olmsted because between Jean Mance and MacArthur, it's barely two lanes.
Where the school is. Horizon Jeunesse. Yeah.
And they have language classes on.
They've changed their entrance though. Anyways, it is a takeaway along Jeunesse. We've actually put in traffic calming there because they're speeding on Olmsted, so it's okay. Good feedback. Are we ready to move on to the 20? So we'll move on to number 20. Am I wrong in the number? Okay, 20. So 20, this is the one that gets us here, the split of the old 5, the 19. Going to tables. Wait.
So the 20 and it's also for the 27. So why doesn't the 20 goes to the Serville station instead of going all around? Why doesn't it go down Cummings Avenue to the Serville station? No, it doesn't. It goes to Saint Laurent.
So yes, could it go to Serville rather than to Saint Laurent? The bus goes to Saint Laurent station today. People count on it going there, and they can make many, many connections, not just to the train, but also to other routes, the 18, the current 114, the 124. They can make connections to a lot of bus routes. They can go to the shopping center. They can go to the employment near there. If it went to Serville, yes, you could get to the train maybe 2 minutes faster, but we'd be cutting out other customers who are using that route today for other reasons.
Now you're connected to light rail at Saint Laurent. Okay. The point is to go down Cummings right through to Serville is what I'm hearing. Okay. Okay. Any other points on the 20? Yes.
Part of the note on that we took at the table are in French. So.
Oui, vous pouvez parler en français, allez-y.
Donc, les services à partir d'ici sans avoir une lettre étonnante. So there seems to be a very large deterioration in this service from here that currently goes towards Ottawa U and downtown, whereas here the people would be the service would go towards Saint Laurent Shopping Center. So that includes an additional transfer, whereas there's no transfer currently. Et le temps semble augmenter. Also, there would be it's every 30 minutes, and like someone mentioned, when you're committing to a certain line, whereas here, if someone comes to take the bus here, if they miss it, they can't jump. So there's no other lines nearby. So it seems like it could be linked with the number 19 that's currently
perfect. Points taken, thank you. Any other, Toby, you want to say that?
No, the last route is the 25. I didn't see any cars. 27. Oh, we got the 27 too. We're not talking about 27.
You don't live there yet. There's the aviation parkway over there, that's where.
Yeah.
That's where I.
Madame?
On voulait savoir, so number 19 used to be every 15 minutes, and now it's reduced to 20 and 27 to 30 minutes. So how is that?
That is done so that the 20 and the 27 together run every 15 minutes from along Cummings. So it allows the two routes to combine. So there's still a bus every 15 minutes along Cummings.
Okay, so now, non, c'est qu'on n'a pas des. Aujourd'hui, ce qu'on prend, c'est tout le feedback. On n'a pas de réponse. Le staff vous a présenté ce qu'ils veulent. On va prendre toute l'information, puis avec ça, on va essayer de faire les modifications à apporter. Oui, Émilie, prends toutes les questions. Oui, vous n'avez pas à vous inquiéter. Tout est bien saisi. So what we're going to do, we're going to go. I'll give you literally a minute at each table to regroup with your speaker. If there's an issue that wasn't raised, raise it to the speaker and we'll go table to table quickly just to see if there was an issue that was not raised as part of this. So I'll give you a minute.